we must go into bone health because I think bone health has been undervalued.
Completely.
And even I've heard a lot of your interviews, and I think it's easy to focus on, muscle and the strength training and the VO2 max, and that's all great, and we're going to get to that. But I do think bone needs to be raised in our awareness. So I really wanted to make sure we focused here. A lot of this book is talking about the incredible benefits of movement. And of course, you have this wonderful acronym FACE, right? Which is brilliant. Flexibility and mobility, aerobic activity, carrying a load, and equilibrium and fast speeds. But if we simply look at it through the lens of bone for a minute, and yes, for people who can get a DEXA scan to see where they're at, great. Even if you can't or you won't, there are things that you can do to improve your bone health, right? So when it comes to movement, what kinds of things can we do that will directly improve the health of our bones?
Yes, let's just assume you're losing bone density. Let's make it a given.
Okay.
That is a good place to start. Men and women are going to lose bone density, blah. Here are the top things to do for your bone. Number one, optimize your hormones. Estrogen is so critical for bone health in the regulation of these two cells I was talking about earlier, that it will help rebalance the breaking down of bone and the building of bone. Number two, building muscle. Number three, and often forgotten, is the E of the FACE acronym, equilibrium and foot speed. Because you may be fine sitting in a chair. You may be fine walking around. But if you lose your balance, our neuromuscular pathways controlling balance start to degrade in our 20s, such as you reach for something, you lose your balance, you topple over.
In our 20s.
Yes, but it can be totally retrained. And we can talk about that. But we have to reestablish our balance so that we don't trip over our dog or our rug or just try to pick something up and fall over, because you'll be fine before you fall. And then you have the fatal fall, or your child has had a month in a cast. It takes 3 months for an adult to heal a fracture because of our biology. Think of the inconvenience of that, even if it's a minor fracture. So retrain our balance. And number two in that FACE, equilibrium, is the long forgotten foot speed, meaning we lose our type 2 muscle fibers, which is our fast twitch fibers. And so I train people in speed and agility. It's all those things we see athletes doing, hopping over cones, jumping over little hurdles. Even I was teaching a U.S. celebrity how to do toe taps and heel taps and then alternate them really quickly, because we lose the neuromuscular coordination that helps us jump over our work bag that sits by our desk and trips us every day, right? We may be fine until we lose our balance and fall down.
Yeah.
So we can't forget to do that in our general mobility, but specifically for bone if we're talking about it.
Yeah. See, it's interesting. Things like swimming and cycling are fantastic aerobic activities. But I say, personally, in my own life over the last years, I've really been thinking about weight-bearing activities.
Yes.
And if I have limited time to move, and I'm making more and more time to move as I get older, we'll come to strength shortly, but in terms of more, I guess, what you would call in inverted commas, aerobic activities, I really focus on walking and running.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, I like cycling, I like swimming, but I'm thinking, but those things are not really putting load through my joints.
They're not.
Right? So they're great, but they're not loading my joints, whereas walking and running are literally putting pressure through my joints. So I personally am prioritizing those. As a sports medicine specialist, as an orthopedic surgeon, what's your take on that?
I agree. I am not against swimming, great for aerobics.
Yeah, for sure.
I am not against cycling, aerobics, and building butt, core, and hips muscles. But if you're concerned about building better bones, not only is walking fine, it produces about 1.5 times body weight with the steps. Running's fine, about 2.5 times body weight to build better bone, we need 4 times body weight.
Okay.
So if we really want to get after it, we're going to jump. And we're going to jump at least off an 8-inch step, because that will produce 4 times body weight and impact. Because this is the way bones work chemically. The biomechanical impact of you landing hard on both feet from an 8-inch height and then jumping up straight in the air and landing again, that biomechanical impact becomes, through little channels of fluid in your bone, biochemical signal that tells the building cells, oh, I better lay down more bone. She's jumping around again. So the impact becomes the biochemical signal to build bone. But it has to be intense enough. So when you jump off, when you're running, I would stop and jump up and down 10 to 20 times. Or you can do it all at one time. 3 days a week, you can spend 10 minutes jumping in multi-directions. I just posted reintroducing hopscotch to the world, right? Because it's multi-directional play jumping. So that's what I would add. And there are lots of studies to substantiate that. In fact, one that I published in this research group looking at what kind of activity, number one, answering the question, can we maintain our bone density by being active across a lifespan? The answer to that study was yes. The subsequent study was, well, okay, what kind of activity maintains bone density best? And it seems logical, but we were studying the Senior Olympics, which is Olympics for people over 50. We found, not surprisingly, that the jumping sports like volleyball, basketball, because of the impact, maintained bones better than the swimming, the running, the badminton, the bowling.
That's really interesting.
Isn't that fascinating?
And just a point to clarify. So many people these days are jumping on trampolines or on rebounders. Now, what's interesting on those, of course, there's give when you land. So I'm guessing that you're saying, no, you must make sure it's against a hard surface.
If you have a choice, if you are not so arthritic that you can barely move, please impact on against a hard surface. That being said, NASA has some good evidence that when they bring astronauts back down from the space stations, they use rebounders.
Right.
You know, and it can be beneficial. But all things being equal, if you can jump on a hard surface, jump on a hard surface.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And of course, skipping ropes are brilliant as well for this.
Just skipping on a track. I mean, that kind of impact, getting your knees up really high, adds some impact.